Alright everyone, it is time for yet another happy little garden update because things have grown massively. You can see all of the chamomile. It's going to have to get picked down. In 2 days I'm going to do another full picking, and I can't even literally pick all of the flowers. There's literally not enough room to dry them at this point. You can see these beets. Look how nice they are. Again, somebody had mentioned that they thought that maybe wilt was being staved off by nettle water, so I mixed up some yesterday with the kelp meal, fertilizer, and some azomite, and I gave everything a good watering. In between there was a storm, then it was dry for a while. I went out and watered, then there was another line of rain, so everything got a good soaking. You can see, look at the size of those beets. They're starting to get there towards ready to harvest. The turnips are all ready to harvest already. It's just I got to get some steaks, and what you do is you take a couple turnips and dice them up, cook them most of the way. Then you put the steak sauce, like the drippings from when you're done with the steak, in while you're allowing the steaks to cool a bit. Swiss chard, all happy. Picked a shit ton of that down for the 4th of July. It's already basically restored itself. These cucumbers are right on par with where they should be. They're flowering a bit. You see back here, happy beans. Those are all flowering. There's going to be a lot of beans this year. Probably about twice as many as last year, and last year there were quite a few. These peppers are puffed right up. They're doing well. I think these are all bells, if I remember. These plants, even the marjoram there that got eaten down did recover. It's just a little sparse. Even the pumpkin here is looking a bit better now. It may or may not actually produce much, but this is a dwarf variety, so I don't know if it's supposed to be vining out anyway, so it could be just fine. By the way, lots and lots and lots of poppies. So this will restore the seed. All the seeds that I put out here, and there are bees all over it. Ooh, nice honeybees, like real genuine honeybees. You don't see them as often sometimes because a lot of the flowers that I plant, honeybees aren't as into. Happy. But what was I saying? Yeah, the seeds were like 4 years old, these ones. And so I took the whole packet and sprinkled it in that area, and it was just about right. The germination rate was very low because they were old seeds, but it worked anyway because enough of them came through to fill it out. You can see the Black Prince tomatoes now have fully caught up with where they should be. The garlic back there, it's funny because garlic, the lower leaves die off throughout the year, and then more leaves replace them. It's like the plant culls itself or something. It's kind of weird. Very happy artichoke plant, by the way. I didn't expect it to do as well. For a while it didn't look like it was going to make it at all. This eggplant in here, move that leaf a little, doing well. It's got a couple little blossoms on there. Those beets are happy. Now this, this turns out, these are not zucchini plants in the strictest sense. These are a hybrid, and as you can see, that is not a normal zucchini. This is a pumpkin zucchini hybrid, I believe, or maybe some sort of winter squash hybridized. These two plants are like that. The other ones, I think, are just pure zucchini, but I got the seeds from a vendor off eBay. I can't remember which vendor. They must have planted pumpkins or some sort of large winter squash near the zucchini, and they hybridized. So we'll see if they're even edible. If not, they'll be decorative. They're either tasty or they're decorative, so it doesn't really make a difference to me. Zucchini aren't exactly the most expensive thing in the world. You can see those nice peppers coming, bell peppers. And this, again, I can't remember if this is a sweet banana or jalapeno. I think it's a sweet banana. And there's like there's 5 or 6 of them coming now, so lots of those. And they're doing real well this year. This ghost pepper in the middle has puffed up as well. A lot of fertilizer. That'll continue to grow. It's funny because those marigolds in the middle aren't doing so hot. They're still little tiny things. The ones on the side are great, and the ones in the middle are still small. Even though they've all gotten the same amount of fertilizer, they're on the same stratum. I can't understand it. More chamomile, definitely a bee attractor. It's funny because the honeybees don't really touch it. And you can see all of these, this particular tomato is growing out almost into the path now. I'm going to have to do something as far as propping it up more, but there's tomatoes all over it. I mean, it's going to be fucking loaded. I've never had, I think, cherry tomato plants that were this big and this loaded with blossoms at this point in the year. And also, you can see the Nicotiana are getting ready to blossom. So another week or so and you'll get some Nicotiana out here for some color. A lot of bugs like those, pollinators. mustard flowers, dill. This is now 6 feet tall, roughly. The sunflower. It's almost as tall as me. About 5'6" or something. This is going to be one hell of a, and I think this is the large variety. I think this is the one with the big blossom on top as opposed to the one with the smaller blossoms, a plurality of them. Not that it matters, you know, sunflower's a sunflower. Blue Hubbard doing well in there, and all the collards, I think they like a little bit of the evening shade in here because they're doing well. They're pretty much ready to begin harvesting at any time. And look at these fucking carrots in here too. Gigantic. You can see this one is pushing itself up a little. It's a happy carrot. Again, you want to have some Nicotiana if you're growing squash because it'll attract all the squash beetles away from things. You can see the chives in here. You know, look at that. They're like bushes almost. The absinthium, all the perennials and stuff. The lilies are getting ready to put out their blossoms soon. More chamomile back there. More chamomile over here. Non-stop chamomile as far as the eye can see. Thinking maybe I should have a little bit less of it actually. Maybe I should have more spots like next year allocated to Nicotiana as opposed to just the chamomile. You can see that giant ass potato plant in here. I can't wait this fall to dig that out and see what's going on underneath it. It'll probably be just all stem and leaf and no root, but it'll be funny anyway. Look at this herb bed and how pretty it is. You know, you get the little blue flowers, little white flowers, you know, all the tastiest herbs. The cilantro is going to seed. That's okay. I can still lop that top part off and it'll produce more underneath. That tomato in there got leaned over by the rain, but it's a big tomato plant. Not sure exactly what variety, and it could always be a hybrid. It is flowering though. There are some flowers in there. If I had to guess based on structure, I think it's probably aroma, which is probably, yeah, that's fine because that's a sauce tomato, mostly. You don't eat it raw. You can, but why would you want to? Wouldn't taste that great. These poor little onions here didn't do much. They get shaded by the turnips. The other ones over there are fine. So yeah, there's the garden. I mean, everything is pretty flush. You can't even eat this much Swiss chard is almost excessive. You literally can't eat it down fast enough. Like after 3 days since the last big harvest, you know, half the leaves in here are now big enough to harvest again. You'd have to have a meal of it every 3rd or 4th day in order to keep up with it, and that's, you know, 3 or 4 people eating it. You'd have beet greens at that level at this point. I've never had much luck with beets, but this year pretty much everything has grown well. About the only quirk is that a couple of the zucchini plants died early on, and then you have these hybridized ones. And I'm like, you know, actually, I didn't grow these from seed at all. I got these as seedlings from Home Depot. So they might have had a problem with contamination. Either that or it's just a really weird deformed zucchini. But I mean, the leaf structure on these plants that resembles pumpkin more than zucchini almost, doesn't it? Those ones over there, ironically, look like they might be normal. I don't even know what's going on. Maybe it's just that one zucchini's fucked up somehow. Maybe it got stunted. Either that or maybe it's going to be 5 feet long. That'd be funny. If zucchinis are dicks, that's Ronald McDonald's fucking hamburger cock, I suppose. That's about all. Peace out.